Hello, my name is Matthew Mead. I am the priest at Christ Church in Pelham, New York, which is the Episcopal Church in Pelham. Today I am going to lead you through the gospel story in chapter 4 of St. John's Gospel about the woman at the well and the encounter she has with Jesus. That well has some more significant history, and so we're going to look at some photos and do some history, and at the end we'll kind of tie it together with a little bit of a tiny homily at the end. Okay, this is the third Sunday in Lent from a page called the lectionary page, and it's got all the readings that we have each Sunday. What we're going to look at is this Sunday's Gospel, which is the story where Jesus comes to a Samaritan city called Sychar, near the plot of ground that Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there. Jesus, tired out by his journey, was sitting by the well. It was about noon. And he has an encounter with a Samaritan woman, and they have a conversation about water that transitions from water from a well to living spiritual water. If you take a look at Genesis, you will discover that you can't find Jacob's well in Genesis. The closest we get is when Jacob buys a plot of land in chapter 33, verses 18 through 20. This, for the record, is a site called Bible Gateway, and you can look at all the different translations that there are out there and look anywhere in the Bible. But anyway, the tradition of Jacob's well is just that. It's a tradition that by Jesus' time had been pretty well cemented, that Jacob, on the plot of land in Shechem that he had bought, had dug a well, and that well remained active for many, many, many generations afterwards. All the way to Jesus' time, it was remembered as being this well in this place. There's not really any reason to doubt the tradition. People dug wells, and wells last for hundreds and hundreds of years. So this is Jacob's well, and that location is remembered well beyond Jesus' time into our own day. And today it exists in a town called Nablus in the West Bank in the Holy Land. We'll take a look at that next. Okay. This is me, and at this point in our trip in the Holy Land, we were up in Galilee, and that's actually the Sea of Galilee, and we made our way from Galilee down the West Bank. Along the way, the bus would get stopped as shepherds would lead their flocks literally across the street, but when we got into Nablus, there was this big airplane and actually a very large sort of civic dump that was just on the outskirts. When we got in, though, there was this really beautiful cathedral that was hard to see from the outside, so I have no pictures of it outside, but there's the bishop and our guides, and this bishop, the man on the left in that photo, is the bishop of this cathedral, and I'll tell you a little more about him in a second. But they're standing on this wonderful mosaic which depicts, among other things, the well, which is the heart of this cathedral. So when you get inside, you see a very beautiful building, lots of standard stone that's all over Jerusalem, and lots of icons. And this particular icon, if you look closely, is Jesus meeting the woman at the well. You see the well in the middle of it. So if you go downstairs in the cathedral into the basement area, you will enter this room. And in this room there is, surprise, a well. And actually it's a functioning well. There's the rope, there's the, you'll see the actual well in a second, and there it is. And you see the water and the cups. We were able to actually draw water from this well and drink it. It's a very old well. It has been fully functioning and thought to be Jacob's well all the way back through Jewish history, and it's now controlled by the Orthodox Church, The bishop there blessed us when we were there. He was got a little bit more to say about that, but he's one in a line of bishops that has really kind of struggled with people trying to literally destroy this cathedral and destroy or take over this well. These icons here show his predecessors who were martyred. One was killed by an axe. Another one was killed in some other way, but he actually was stabbed a whole bunch of times, and at least on one occasion there was a bomb that was dropped down these steps. If you look carefully, you'll see a broken step that nearly killed him, and the bomb went off and blew up the stone and did that. So it's been an interesting time for this guy, trying to be a bishop on the one hand and also sort of under attack. Nablus, though, itself is very neat. There's great food. We went out afterwards and had, what do you do when you go to the well in Nablus? You drink water, and then you go and have the most delicious desserts in the world. And so I wanted to illustrate this because there's this interesting thing where water and food and life all kind of intersect in this story, and Jesus has this encounter with this woman, and an encounter with water turns into living water and not needing to be thirsty, and her conversation with Jesus opens her eyes to more and more of who he is. And I think and hope that as we contemplate this story, one of the things that sort of strikes you is how you can, in really average everyday things, encounter Christ. Hey again, thanks for watching. I hope this was moderately informative, and let's see if we can do some more. Anyway, God bless and be well.